Outside in 30 Minutes on 4, after Mark Thomas, debt collector, does his bit for the people of Iraq.
This is the Iraqi debt. $383 billion. The rising figures you can see are just the interest repayments. Listen to this pause. It just cost $322. Iraq is bankrupt. If you do the maths, it works out that each Iraqi owes $16,000 each. Given that they earn $150 a year, if they spend no money on food, water, electricity or the fripperies such as medicine or housing, it will take them 112 years to pay off the debt, and that's not including the interest. I've decided to collect as much money as I can to help pay off that debt. Iraq's debt comes from foreign loans, war reparations and broken business contracts. Saddam Hussein's regime borrowed money to build palaces and monuments, but it also got debts of $76 billion buying weapons and defence equipment. Marconi, Racal and Thorn EMI sold defence material, and some companies like Matrix Churchill, later at the centre of the Arms to Iraq scandal, were some of the regime's most cherished suppliers. Arms companies amassed this debt selling arms to Iraq, so I decided that to pay it off, I would first rattle my tin at the arms dealers who trousered all the cash.
I needed to get to the delegates at the arms fair in London, and there's a slight hitch, what with the 3,000 cops who are drafted in to protect them. Then I thought of a way to get to the delegates. I figured most of them would be blokes, so I got two women friends to dress in very nice corporate attire. Hired a minibus, got through the security line to the delegates' hotels, and before you could say, "Oh, you must get lonely coming here by yourself," the bus was full, the kidnap was on, for charity.
Iraq is saddled with Saddam's debts. Ordinary Iraqis didn't benefit, but here are some of the men who work for the very industry that did.
My name's Mark Thomas, I'm from Channel 4. We are providing a complimentary bus this morning, we are filming, and what we're doing, although it's a complimentary bus, we're asking you to make a small donation, any kind of donation, small or large, towards helping reduce Iraq's debt. And the debt, as you can see from this, is about £10,000 per person, which is a hugely crippling debt. It's going to have an enormous impact on Iraq's ability to rebuild itself and to function as a transparent and accountable democracy. And what we're asking is that as members of the defence industry, of the arms industry, that you would perhaps give generously. We've got a little tin here which we hope you'll make a donation, which, as you can see, we've got arms for Iraq. And we hope that, we'll pass this around you, and we hope that you'll feel encouraged to make a donation which will go to help alleviate the plight of Iraq's debt. Thank you very much indeed, that's fantastic. Thank you for your help. 1, 2, 4. Just like to say thank you ever so much. We've got £7.20. I have to confess being slightly disappointed with that. As obviously, you know, working in the defence industry, you know, I thought you might have had just a bit more cash to put in, but we do appreciate every penny, and as I said, we will assure you that it will absolutely go to help alleviate and the problems with Iraq's debt. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you very much. And have a good fair. Thank you.
Because the arms industry is so much to blame for the size of Iraq's debt, I still wanted to squeeze more cash from the delegates. Trouble was that the only other way to the arms fair, the Docklands Light Railway, was crawling with security. All I had to do, though, was smile, be polite, and bingo.
So we're going to have people going around now with the cards. It's 50p and eyes down on arms dealer Iraqi bingo. And the first number out is all the legs 60. Then we've got 46. All your cluster bombs 46. Number 7, AK-47.
We were not the only ones to sell weapons to Iraq. Arms merchants from France, Russia, Brazil, India and loads of Eastern European countries did those deals too. And now Saddam has done a runner, they're all queuing up to get their money back. But Iraq can't afford to pay them.
Have you got a house? Have we got a winner? Hey! Hey, that is absolutely fantastic. Can I just check your card? Thank you very much for playing Arms Dealer Bingo. We really do appreciate that.
Were you at the... Of course.
Excellent. What store were you with?
I wasn't with any.
So you're just visiting? You were just checking it out, just buying for later?
Nothing I wanted to buy.
Well, you didn't look under the counter. But thank you very much. Thanks a lot. We have a winner on Arms Dealer Bingo. $12.60 for bingo, not very good. So I've decided on a very British response to the situation. Faced with death, starvation and destruction, it's time to organise a jumble. I dropped jumble bags all over London, but I made a special point of dropping them with people, banks, businesses and foreign embassies that dealt with Iraq in the 1980s. Morgan Grenfell and Midland Bank, later bought by HSBC, were just two of the banks that lent money to the regime. After 3 weeks of bag drops, I went collecting. Saudi Arabia is Iraq's biggest claimant, demanding $25 billion. It's one of the richest countries on the planet, but it's also one of the tightest. We tried for ages to get jumble from them, but 3 weeks on, and not so much as a pair of pants.
Now! What do we want? Jumble! When do we want it? Now!
I know it's that you don't obviously get very many demonstrations about jumble.
Bear with me.
Just down the road in their sumptuous Knightsbridge embassy, the Kuwaitis are seeking billions in repayment of money they lent Iraq during the 80s. The question is, are they entitled to ask for it back when maybe they shouldn't have lent it in the first place? It's a concept called odious debt. And Joseph Stiglitz has seen this happen before. He's a Nobel Prize winner and used to be senior vice president at the World Bank.
In Ethiopia, lenders lent money to this absolutely terrible regime called the Mengistu regime, called the Red Terror. And now the government that overthrew him and has set up an attempt to have a regime that is finally raising the living standards of the people in Ethiopia, they have to pay effectively for the guns that killed them for 17 years. And the question is, does it have a moral obligation to repay when the lender, in some sense, had a moral obligation in the first place not to have given the money?
The city doesn't want to cancel the debt. In fact, quite the opposite. You can buy and sell Iraqi debt on the market like stocks and shares. The price of the debt will go up, the price of the debt will go down. And after the invasion of Iraq by America, the price of Iraqi debt went up. Debt trading is legal, but I was chatting to my Iraqi friend George about the ethics of this trade when we bumped into one of Britain's biggest debt traders. Julian Adams? Yeah. Hello there. Hi, my name's Mark Thomas from Channel 4. We're just doing some filming about... This is really bizarre because we're doing some filming about Iraqi debt. And I know you're a debt trader. This is George, who's from Iraq.
I'm from Iraq.
I know you actually trade in Iraqi debt, don't you? This is the buying at sort of however many cents.
Yeah, we invest in it. We invest in some, yeah.
Well, we're doing a programme about the debt, and we want to... Would you give us some... Because we're trying to cancel it. Would you give us a bit of debt?
I'll have to come back to you.
I'll tell you what, because I know. I'll tell you what, because you've bought the debt. What did you buy? About a cent in the dollar, 2 cents in the dollar somewhere.
It's been trading at 10 cents pre-embargo, you know.
Right, and now when the war kicked off, that debt's worth what? 28, I read last.
Yeah, it went up because the embargo came off, you know. So that always Americans can buy.
So you're now going to be able to sell the debt at 28 cents in the dollar. Which is a huge markup. It's a great markup, isn't it? But the debt's going to have a huge impact on, ordinary Iraqis in trying to create stability, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean...
And we're just collecting. We're trying to lessen that debt, you see. So we thought if you've got a bit of spare debt lying around the office, that you could, and you can have George.
Yeah.
He'll come with you. He'll do you a year's work. In fact, George will do 16 grand's worth of work. How about that?
Yeah,
you can't get fairer than that. Okay, 16,000. You get a free Iraqi for a bit of debt.
How about that? What's he eat?
What does he eat? Well, food. He's a human. But isn't that going to help? Aren't there going to be debt?
There's profit in debt. This time last year, debt traded at 8 cents. Now it's up to 28 cents.
Okay, well, listen, thank you very much for chatting to us, and have a good day with the debt.
We wanted to keep the debtometer running during the adverts, but this doesn't fit the ITC rules. Iraq's debt has risen by nearly $250,000 since the programme began, and is now $383,241,627.50. The interest on Iraq's national debt has increased over the break by $19,330.20. My mission to pay off Iraq's debt is going very well. £31.43. OK, there is another $383 billion yet to pay, but I feel very optimistic about the next one. Saddam-free Iraq has oil and valuable assets all over the world, but they can't be used to help the Iraqis while creditors have $383 billion of claims on them. This is the London branch of the Rafadain Bank, Iraq's top bank, closed since 1991. People who dealt with Saddam's regime have got their claws into it, claiming £6 billion worth of debt, and they're talking of selling it off to pay themselves back. If this is going to be sold off, I think it should be done to benefit the Iraqi people, not a bunch of creditors. I want to sell it off to help pay off some Iraqi debt, but it's really run down. So in order to increase its value, I've decided to spruce the bank up a bit, give it a makeover, a sort of financial Carol Smiley.
If any of you have got any kind of like makeover patterns that you could suggest, some pastel shades, some cutouts, some stencils or anything like that, please come forward and suggest them. The bank here, I think it's valued at somewhere like 6 billion of the creditors have gone for. If the bank is liquidated, it's going to get about 0.01 pence in the pound, which isn't too great, as you can imagine. So every penny counts, literally. If any of you have any offers that you want to if any of you want to buy the bank, please come and speak to me about this. And we have got already from the crowd £5.08. Well done. Well done, £5.08, well done, thank you very much.
There were no takers for the bank, so I had to look elsewhere to raise money. Here's someone who got one of our jumble bags in his letterbox. This is David Gore Booth, a powerful banker and one of the best connected people in the Middle East. He knows a lot about Iraq's debt. His own British Arab commercial bank is looking to collect $100 million from the Rafadain. He headed up the Middle East section at the Foreign Office during the period when arms-related equipment was secretly sold to Iraq. And he met Saddam's banker in London during sanctions. Now he is HSBC's top advisor riding shotgun into Iraq. Surely he can help.
Possible to sign our little petition here. We call it for the cancellation of Iraq's national debt.
I'm not a banker, for Christ's sake.
I know, but I tell you, we've got another one here which calls for the unconditional cancellation of Iraq's debt, apart from the debt owed to the British Arab Commercial Bank, which you're a director of, which I think there's 100 million that the British Arab Commercial Bank are saying Iraq owes at the moment. So we figured you could either sign this one, which calls for the cancellation of all the debt except that bit, your bit, or HSBC own, what is it, 46.51% of British Arab Commercial Bank?
That's right.
And their pre-tax profits were 6.8 billion. So we figured you might lose the 100 million. What about it? Could you lose the 100 million?
This is an international issue and it will be settled through international channels.
I know, but
That's what I'm prepared to say.
I understand that, but you've got huge experience in Iraq. You're involved in all sorts of things. You go from the Foreign Office through to you're heading up the team into Iraq now for HSBC, aren't you?
No, that's being headed out of Dubai by our man out there. So
but you're an advisor.
Yes.
Okay, well, you've had a lot of experience in Iraq, from the Scott Report through to the work now. We left a little bag for jumble for Iraq to help. You didn't leave any jumble out.
We're wondering, would you like to leave some jumble out because we're running it to cancel some of Iraq's debt? Or have you got any reason for no jumble?
It wasn't clear the basis of that. I don't react to these things in this way, and I don't actually appreciate being doorstepped at HSBC very much. Cheers.
OK, well, thanks very much. We could give you more information on the jumble. OK, thank you. I've raised a few quid from some of the people who got Iraq into this mess, and now it's time to go after the British companies who are looking to profit from Iraq in the future. The UK's Iraq Industry Working Group is meeting at the DTI in London. Here, they are batting for Britain PLC, and on the agenda, contracts and privatisations. I thought the delegates might give generously to my little Ali collecting doll. He is fully loaded with camera and microphone. Ali is a symbol of what we've done to Iraq, and I wanted to shock some cash out of the delegates. Watching Ali here is really interesting because people are coming up and putting money in, like, you know, there's a pensioner who came up, there's young kids and all this kind of stuff.
God bless them.
The guys who are now involved in the Iraq Working Group have just left through the back door and refused to come out the front. They won't even walk past Ali. The very people, the companies who are going to be involved in the profiteering, who are going to go in there to privatise Iraq. But Ali was full of surprises. 4 wheels and a powerful motor, he blasted into action when he spotted a delegate trying to duck out. He even had a two-way radio so I could do little Ali's voice.
Please help. Please put a little money in my head. Please help me. Please. I just need a little bit of money, please. I know you're going to be working in Iraq soon. That's my home country. Please help. I know you're going to be there. Please help. It's not a runner, look.
Ali did his best. He collected £2.77 for the debt. But the DTI was nothing compared to Olympia, where global big business was holding a secret conference with the aim of slicing up Iraq's future. I just had to offer them a tasty treat.
That's delicious. Would you like a bit of cake? Yes. Would you like a bit of Iraq? Can I tempt you with just a little slice of it? What sector are you involved in, sir? You're not talking? Or you're not telling? If I give you a bit of cake, will you tell? You can have Kirkuk. How about a bit of Baghdad? I'll give you Baghdad if you tell me. Go on, go on. You know you want to.
The privatization is all part of the spoils of war. The United States went in, privatizes it rapidly. What does that mean when you rapidly privatize? It's effectively a fire sale. If you do it rapidly, before you've restructured, you're not going to get full value.
Would you like a little bit of Iraq?
And so whoever walks off with the spoils, whether they are Saudis, American firms, or a few rich Iraqi people.
Are you sure you don't want any oil fields?
No. There will be an aura of illegitimacy that will be a problem for Iraq and for Iraq's economy for years to come.
Would you like a piece of Iraq?
What's that?
It's a bit of Iraq.
Oh!
We're offering bits of Iraq. Would you like a piece?
Well, no, thank you.
Are you sure?
We're going in to speak about Iraq right now.
Are you? What are you speaking on? Can I ask you what you're speaking on?
Who are you with here?
Sorry, I must apologise. My name's Mark Thomas from Channel 4.
Oh!
How are you?
You've been working on the programme here.
That's right.
I'm Dennis Sokol. I'm the chairman, one of the chairmen of the programme. I'm
Fantastic.
chairman of the U.S.-Iraq Alliance.
Fantastic. Well, can I give you a bit of cake? Because you see, this is a bit of...
Look at me.
Well, you're used to cake. That means you're used to it,
I grew up
surely.
as a baker's son.
Did you? What are you after today?
We're having our second meeting today. We have a number of great speakers.
Right.
We're trying to clean up the mess. You know, we got a big problem.
Do you think, I mean, obviously there's a big problem about the debt and about whether it's an odious debt.
I don't think that's the issue. The big issue right now is getting order, getting calmness, security, and investment. That's the biggest challenge.
But if the investment is going in and it's privatised without a democratic government and a democratic government
we got to get the order
decision,
first.
Then...
This guy right here.
Then isn't that an illegal operation?
Oh, I think that's tabloid stuff. You know, the issue right now is
how can it be?
We're in a mess. We have a mess.
Yeah.
We got ourselves in a mess, and we got to get that fixed. And it's the Iraq people and Don?
No, I don't have time for this.
Are you sure? I understand it.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to see you.
So you were saying if the Iraqi people. Sorry, you were half sentence, and I was just wondering if
that's
you.
all right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. At least we made him run.
The star speaker at the conference is a businessman, Basil Al-Rahim. He is very well connected. He played matchmaker, bringing together two of the richest business dynasties in the world, the Bushes and the Bin Ladens. He makes things happen, and he has a big idea for the future of Iraq's debt. Debt relief for a price.
You have to shift all ownership of the economy down to the private sector. You can establish a points system so that if you have a claim of X dollars, you get X points, and those points then you can sell onto the market, because the market can use them to pay for concessions or for government contracts it gets into Iraq.
Oh, great. Points for prizes. So you trade bits of debt for slices of the country. This is a banker's wet dream. It's free Iraq.
Well, as you know, it's free Iraq. But would you like a slice of cake as well as a bit?
I'm not coming to slice Iraq, to be honest. I'm coming to see the opportunities for businesses who would like to help to reconstruct Iraq.
So it's almost philanthropic?
No, it's business-driven, so...
Oh, it's business-driven?
I certainly don't want to take any slice of Iraq.
No, it is absolutely delicious.
It is symbolic, but I'm not going to take that.
You're not going to take a symbolic, you're going to take an actual.
No, thank you very much.
OK, thank you.
We know what happened in Russia, for instance, as it tried to move from socialism, communism, to a market economy under the auspices of the IMF. It was a disaster.
Everything you buy here will help towards alleviating the debt on the Iraqi people. Please help the Iraqi people.
At the jumble sale, I didn't have any second-hand banker suits to sell. No Gucci gear donated by the Saudi embassy. I didn't even manage to trade my old Iraqi friend George for some debt. There you go, 150. Enjoy it. And just think, when you actually kind of like put that on, you'll have the warm glow of helping Iraq. But look at that. What a great jumble sale. £234.14. So I've collected a grand total of £283.62 to help reduce Iraq's debt. Well done, Britain, but not quite enough. If Iraq's to have any chance for the future, the debt should be cancelled unconditionally. No deals, no payoffs, without any strings attached. It's as simple as that. Why should Iraqis be forced to pay for Saddam Hussein and his regime's debts? Why should they be forced to be burdened with that, to pay for their own oppression? If you're one of the companies or one of the governments that did deals with Saddam Hussein and you didn't get paid, you didn't get paid for doing a deal with the human rights abusing dictator and his regime. Tough. Boo-hoo. Get used to it. The Iraqis have got absolutely no reason why they should be forced to pay for it and have their country assets stripped by a coalition of the willing on the back of all of this. Clearly, charity isn't enough. Cancel the debt now, because if liberation's to mean anything, it means liberation from poverty.
The justice of our cause lies in the liberation of the Iraqi people. And to them we say, we will liberate you. The day of your freedom draws near.